Welcome to All Four Downs, part of the CMG Sports Podcast Network. I am Joe McGuire. And boy, uh, what a season we've had thus far. We're going to get you all caught up, and we're going to do a preview of some of the great games coming up this weekend, including the Garbage Bowl between UConn and UMass. More importantly, though, Penn State, Iowa, what a huge game. Huge ramifications, obviously. That's a game I'm really looking forward to. It's funny. There's actually something that's been burning me up all week. And it's these college rankings. And it's not even the idea that, I've heard a lot of Georgia people talk about they should have moved ahead of Alabama. Laughable. Love the Iowa Penn State thing. Glad since he's in the top 5. Oklahoma, suspect 6. I think they're on their way out this week. We'll get into that a little bit later on. 9, Michigan, 10, BYU. I like it. I struggle with 7 and 8. Ohio State, top 10. I disagree with that notion completely. They're ahead of Oregon, who's number 8. And guys, we had the same situation last year. Ovi Muniz, Jace Garcia, thank you for being here and talk me through this for a minute. We did this last year when Florida went to Texas A&M, go to College Station, and they lose. And justifiably so, behind them in the rankings the next week. But it did not take long until Florida was ahead of A&M. Now, let me explain to you how I understand and interpret college rankings. And if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But in theory, number 1 beats number 2. Alabama's supposed to beat Georgia. That's why they're 1. That's why they're 2. And Georgia would beat Iowa. That's why they're 2 and 3. Iowa, Penn State, you get what I'm saying. But see, that's a great formula until I get to Ohio State. Because they're supposed to beat Oregon, who's number 8. But they didn't. This is one of those situations where I'm trying to rank Big Ten, Pac-12, SEC, ACC. Some of these teams will never face each other. No common opponents. It's hard for me to gauge strength of schedule. Who's better? I literally saw Oregon beat Ohio State. I know how obsessed the AP is with Ohio State. Somebody help me out.
First, let me start by saying that you're only reading the AP polls, not the ranking. The official ranking starts very first top 25. Now,
the good. We already had a poll.
Yeah, and they kind of like changed their. Well,
you don't think that the Power 5 formula is going to have Ohio State ahead of Oregon? I do. I'm sure some mathematical formula will explain why if they played again, Oregon probably wouldn't win.
But if you look at it this way, Oregon lost to Stanford, which is an unranked team.
Now it happens. Give me a break.
But listen, I understand your frustrations of having Ohio State in the top 10 because of their performance. But as I discussed this with Jace before the show started, Ohio State only lost to Oregon. Okay, and it wasn't even a blow. It was an actual great game, right?
Really good game.
It really was.
But any other opponents, they took care of their business. Now, was it awesome? No, but did they cover the spread? Absolutely. Okay. And the fact that when you look at Oregon losing to Stanford, which is what, they're 2-2 or something like that, you losing to an unranked team, that looks very bad. And that looks very bad for the Pac-12.
Stanford's always tough. Everybody knows that. Come on.
Okay, but so is UCLA. There's Arizona State. There's other teams better than Stanford. There's no slack.
Dude, again, Based on
There's
what
no
I just
slack.
explained to you
You
about the
didn't
idea
explain
that in
nothing.
theory you would think that this team would, and that's kind of how this rolls out. So
No,
explain. It doesn't make
no.
sense to me.
I'm
I,
just right. Listen. I know, Jace. Hold on for a second.
okay.
I just finished explaining to you that the only loss that Ohio State's had
Oh,
was
I'm
against
aware of
Oregon.
who it was.
But when
I'm well
Oregon
aware of
lose
that.
to a nobody, because Stanford, they're not a right team.
No.
You know, they're not the same when Andrew Luck was there. Okay,
Yeah.
they should have never lost that game, and they beat themselves. They had the lead, and they let Stanford tie the game and went ahead. And you can't do that and represent the Pac-12 that way. Just telling you. So yes, I do agree. Ohio State should be ranked above Oregon. That's
No,
all.
Well,
Chase, go ahead.
no. Listen.
it's. I'm sorry to say
No.
that's incorrect. You're correct.
I get where you're both
Oh.
coming from. I think when they're right next to each other, like they are in the AP polls, you have to give them that bump. I get that Stanford is a much worse loss than Oregon is to Ohio State, but when you're right there, you got to give that bump. If there were like 3 teams between them and you gave Ohio State the upper one, then I get it, I guess. But right there, just optics-wise, that looks terrible. And, I mean, that Stanford game, that's a whole different thing. Stanford's a tough place to play. They're a weird team this year, beating USC and Oregon now. 2 great wins and terrible losses along with it. So that's very weird. But, yeah, I think when they're right next to each other, you got to give the team that won the nod. But if there were a couple teams in between them, and they had a good argument for why those teams were in between them, and Oregon was below Ohio State, I could get it. But when they're right next to each other, you got to give it to who won.
And look, the pitch is going to be even better when it comes to this weekend. Like you mentioned, Joe, we got Penn State visiting Iowa. Then looking forward towards the end of the season when you were already going to have Ohio State facing Penn State, right? Michigan State, Michigan. So all that is going to determine exactly. It's going to shape up to where everyone's going to show their true colors. And I don't believe that Ohio State will even win the rest of the season. They won't. So I understand how bad you want Ohio State to get out of the top 10, and eventually they will. Just not right now.
Again, and Jace, I think you actually really put it perfectly. So thank you for saying that. Yeah, right. It's that idea that they're sitting right in front of one another, and it's like I just watched that game. They lost. Like you said, Stanford is a tough place to play.
Yeah,
and that kind of thing happens in the Pac-12. That's how they do. I just can't get behind that. It burned me up all last year with Florida and A&M, which was funny. It was all because once Florida lost, they just wanted to sneak A&M in there anyway. So they were just sitting there kind of stashed. But I don't know. This just rubs me the wrong way. That's all.
it should. And
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing with me. You didn't have to do that.
You're gonna be surprised on these top 25s that myself and Jace made for you. But before we do, hey, this show is brought to you by CMG Sports Podcast Network. Visit clovercrestmedia.com for more shows and varieties of genre of podcasts. So you like thriller, you like sports, you like drama, there you go. Visit clovercrestmedia.com. And also subscribe to All Four Downs. Follow us on Facebook, like us, and leave a comment. And big shout out to James Lil, who's wanted to know who should win USC versus Utah. Your answer is already in the message board, but let's get started from the real games. But before we do, top 25, baby. And here we go. Looking at my list, I have Georgia number 1. Georgia has shut out their opponents back-to-back weeks. They have shown that they are the best defense of the nation. They got a better defense than Alabama. Alabama fourth quarter defense is not so pretty. And especially when you're supposed to dominate Ole Miss like they did the first 3 quarters, to allow them to score 21 points, it's kind of suspect. And I think there's also suspect on Lane Kiffin on that game. But hey, that's another story for another day. But
That's a punt.
yeah, Penn State, well deserved. But guess what? Penn State and Iowa are going at it. The winner of there could potentially be the number 3 team in the rankings coming on Sunday. And of course, I have Ohio State at number 6 because there was a big turbulence going on with all these top teams losing. So my biggest surprise, my biggest jump, and I'm looking very closely, is Oklahoma State. They're doing a wonderful job. They're the most quietest team right now in the Big 12, and I won't be surprised they go neck to neck with Oklahoma this year. I am really looking forward to seeing them facing Oklahoma face to face and see if Spencer Rattler could actually have a great game against them. I know you got some more comments there, Joe.
I'm trying to figure out what is this? This is
What
your is this your poll?
That is my poll.
Let me zoom in here for a minute.
Oh, we could zoom in. You zoom in.
You know why? I'm sorry. I saw your poll and I saw Georgia at the top. I thought this was from like 1988. I'm sorry.
1988. You're a funny guy, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much.
Oh, you're so hilarious.
The
mean,
way
your Syracuse are also representing though, but I mean, it's cool.
Jace, the only way that he could rectify this Ohio State Oregon situation was to bump Ohio State up further. Come on. There are so many teams that are undefeated still. What an amazing amount of disrespect. Listen, Oregon's either a crappy team that lost to unranked Stanford, or they're a good team who should be ranked ahead of Ohio State. One or the other.
You already established that already.
One or the other.
Yes,
that
one
is
or the other.
Unbelievable.
Anyhow,
Holy
we're moving
smokes.
on to Jace's top 25. He has Alabama, Georgia, Cincinnati, and Iowa. I like that Cincinnati.
I love that.
They've been 3 all year.
I think they're well deserved.
He's rewarding teams that have actually won all of their games. I think that's great.
Then. Yeah, sure. After
he left
that
insult, Clemson off this poll finally.
Exactly. That's I'm about to go there. After what you had told him last week, he felt the pressure. He was like, I can't have Joe on my back anymore.
I told you they were going to be there for 1 week.
Yeah.
But
hey, I mean, look, Oregon, he dropped them out of the top 10.
Yep.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But hey, listen, when you lose to a team that's not ranked, dude, I'm sorry, man. But I like where you got Oklahoma State at.
When you lose to a team that lost to an unranked team, that makes
20.
you
there you
worse.
Go. But Ovi, before the show, you were giving me some slack at Ohio State. I have teams undefeated and besides Oregon beat them. The other 2 teams that will have a loss ahead of them lost to the number 1 and number 2 team. To go with your Georgia take, I'm not mad at putting Georgia number 1 because of how dominant that defense is. But as I've said before on the show last year, to be the best, you got to beat the best. Alabama's still the reigning champs. That's why I give them that top.
You're absolutely right. But also keep in mind that Georgia is playing without their starting quarterback for
as
back-to-back.
usual. And even when he does play, he's not that good.
JT Daniels is not that good.
You guys are so delusional down there. And
he's delusional, man. Get out of here. I can't believe he said that. We're going to do the show without him because eventually he doesn't know a real talent.
Hey.
He said if he could agree with me with Mac Jones, he should agree with me with JT Daniels.
I know. I just don't agree. I can't.
You sound like Jace. Like
he's always hurt. Dude, last week I watched the game, and I'll tell you what. Look, they played a great game. Stetson, what's his face? Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
What a ridiculously stupid name for a 5'9" little munchkin cowboy of a man. Let me tell you something. Before the game, they were hyping this guy up like he was the next Johnny Manziel. It was crazy, dude. They were all hyping this guy up, and it's like, this is the guy you've been bitching about for like 2 years, that he's holding it back. He's a little more mobile than JT. Let me tell you something. Georgia's offense is not good enough to compete with Alabama, plain and simple. That's why you're still number 2, and that's why that's the best you can hope for in 2021. Sorry to say, my dog.
Well, you will
see.
see that in the SEC championship when they're already predicting Georgia will beat Alabama this year.
Who's
So
predicting that? People
I
from
am.
Georgia?
You see this right here?
Hey,
I am.
I'm
And I'm
with
going to
Jace
Ovi
has
tell
there.
you,
Utah winning the
I've never
championship.
been wrong when I'm sure I'm predicting. And that was one that I'm going to say is going to happen. So,
I like it. I'm with you there, Ovi. But before we
okay.
move on to move on from top 25, I gotta say BYU is fraudulent. Every game that they haven't played a game outside of Utah this year, the state of Utah. Their only road game was at Logan, Utah State. Everyone else they've beaten at home, and I think it was really big, especially this year being the first year back with fans to have that many home games. I think they're really fraudulent, and the AP putting them in the top 10 is disastrous. I don't think they deserve to be there.
So you're trying to say they should have more road games?
No, yeah, I'm saying that once they start hitting the road, you'll see how good they actually aren't.
I got to respect BYU, though. I mean, to accept a game that wasn't supposed to happen last year and they
Yeah,
traveled to Coastal Carolina. I
that was
mean,
big.
they just playing what they're playing. And I'm sure that if somebody invite them to go on the road, they'll go on the road. They're not going to be chickens.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying they haven't truly been tested on the road. That's they are like what I said in the fight game. The promoters get in the way, but in the fighters always want to fight. The players are always going to want to go out and play, but they just haven't been on the road yet. So I think that's going to be a real tough test for them when they start hitting the road.
Ovi has talked so many times about these schools don't play anybody. And we do that whole dance. We're like, well, nobody wants to play those teams, especially when they get good. Why would anybody put Coastal Carolina or Liberty or BYU on the schedule unnecessarily? Nobody wants to test themselves. You know why? You fail. You fail those tests a lot of the times. Why risk it when you could play,
TCSU.
Georgia State,
Central Connecticut,
or
UConn,
or
Western
UMass. Kentucky Southern.
But anyways, hey, let's go back here. So let's look at our wonderful nation right there. I gotta love college football, especially this Saturday. But hey, week 5 picks. I am still in the lead. And Joe and Jace, they could rotate around all they want, but I'll still be on top. But
I'm going
here
to
I
jump
am
this week. I can't believe as good a start as you got off to and as poor a start as I got off to that I'm this close. This is going to be the week where I steamroll you.
Yeah. Just continue being last picker, and
you got
wagon.
the Georgia stars in your eyes is your problem, and it's diluting your view of everybody else.
Talking about Georgia stars, let's talk about our first game. Georgia visiting Auburn. Now, just for you, Joe, I'm gonna say it first, okay? All right, and then you could steal my notes afterwards, okay? Is that all right?
Yeah, bring it.
All right. So we don't know. It's still questionable if JT Daniels is going to start this weekend, but Stetson Bennett, he may be the starter, but that is the biggest concern since he is 5'9", and can he go against the Auburn defense? Auburn defense, of course, is suspect, and unless they have the referees on their side. But the main focus on this one is, can Bo Nix actually play quarterback? As you can see, each game he's been taken out, and I think he received some life last week when they ended up being victorious over LSU. But there goes TJ Finley, who is a backup. But it doesn't matter because that Georgia defense, they're going to put a stop to all that nonsense that they got going on. And besides, the only competitive team that Auburn's faced was the Penn State, and they lost. So give it up to Georgia. They will beat them by 20 points.
Damn, I like that. I'm with you, Ovi. I'm going Georgia as well because even with Stetson Bennett, I think with Stetson Bennett, Georgia's very similar to Penn State. Got that great defense. Got a stud wide receiver in Jermaine Burton, and Stetson Bennett. While he isn't going to go out there and throw for 400 yards in 50 completions, he will manage the game enough to have that defense win the game. And Auburn, even though they're there, they only got one loss, and that one loss was Penn State. They aren't. I don't know. They aren't really that good. They aren't the real normal Auburn team, and I think that'll be shown when Georgia wipes the floor with them.
All right.
Well, number one in the nation in total defense, number one in scoring stops, number one in pass defense. They held that great Arkansas running team to 75 yards rushing. Only once, OV, so far this year have they allowed 100 yards in a game. Everybody knows Bo Nick's been a huge disappointment. The guy's hitting about 50% of his passes. Jace, the defense couldn't come up big last week. And for all of those reasons, I have Auburn pulling off the upset.
Man.
What?
And he said he's going to turn his season around. But
That's
okay.
right, getcha right there. That's number one.
I'm going to call you and be like, yo, that was your
Call
number
me.
one.
You don't listen. You don't get the Red Sox and Georgia in the same week, buddy.
Dude, I will say,
So
doesn't
you're
happen
being
that
a
way.
Yankee hater to pick on
Sorry.
Auburn.
You're getting
You
one or
should
the
love-
other. You're not getting both. Auburn. Let's go
if
Tigers.
there was one of those, like we have seen in the past, Georgia, like the South Carolina game a couple years ago, that stands out where they like play down to their opponent. This
And
I
Georgia
could see
lost.
this happening here, but I just think this
Look,
Georgia team is
let me
different.
tell
The
you
than
last
something.
time,
Bo
the last visit,
Bo Nix needs
Hold on.
needs a big game. He
the
needs it
last
more than
visit that
anybody.
Georgia did going to Auburn, Georgia did lose. And Kirby Smart knows about it, and he already announced it. It's going to be a tough place to play. And the team will be ready. They are hungry. They are hungry. But let's talk about more. Let's talk about the Red River rivalry that's coming up this weekend as well. And the Red River rivalry started in 1931. That's right, the Red River Bridge War. How many of you guys know what that is? You guys know what that is?
No.
Yes.
No,
'cause
you know
I-
anything about history, Jace? I'm gonna tell you some history, okay? That was the boundary conflict between the two states over a toll bridge and a new bridge. Okay. And of course, they had some issues in crossing each other's bridge and the cost and everything else. But that bridge goes over the Red River. All right. However, in real history, they've been playing since 1900s. Okay. And Texas owns the record at 62 wins, 49 losses, and 5 ties. Okay. They played in the Cotton Bowl, the Dallas Cotton Bowl, since 1914, which Texas won 32-7. They only played each other twice in one season because they're in the same conference, only 3 times. And of course, the last time was the Big 12 championship, which Oklahoma won. So with all that, I'm going to pick the upset here because Oklahoma's favorite. I'm picking Texas to beat Oklahoma. I believe in Texas head coach Sarkisian that's going to prepare himself, and he's done this before. He's going to prepare that team, and there's going to be a lot of firepower on this one. So let's go Longhorns.
I agree with you with a lot of firepower. I mean, both these teams are seemingly heading in different trajectories. And Oklahoma, they struggle week after week. This is the time. This is the time for Texas to finally get over the Oklahoma hump. If they cannot do that, I'm going to announce Texas dead to me, and I'm never going to touch them again or talk about them again. But I think they get it done. Bijan Robinson's a beast. Casey Thompson, stud, can get it done. And Jordan Whittingham is a deep threat and gnarly. I think they have everything they need to get it done. It's going to be we're going back a couple years. It's going to be the Red River shootout because everyone's going to be scoring. But it's going to be a great game. I'm going to go with Texas with the upset as well.
Listen, Thompson and Robinson have been quite the combination, really setting up big plays down the field. They've been great on third down, and they've been able to come through in tight games. You got to love that. But, you're hearing a lot of bad things about Spencer Rattler. He's hitting 76% of his passes. He's only thrown 4 interceptions. The problem is he's not making all the big plays down the field. I expect that's going to change. However, I also have Texas winning in a shootout.
About time you start agreeing with us because I know you suspect, Joe. That means Joe did not know who to pick, so he's gonna stay safe. I'm just gonna stick with Texas.
Do you hold on? Do you want to see my notes? I mean, Mike, give me a break. Give me a break.
Well, all right. So tell me, Joe, is it over or under 63 and a half?
It's way over.
All right, Jace.
Way over. Each team's gonna score 60 points.
Jace?
Not bad at that prediction. Hey, I lived by these words last week. I'm gonna live by them again. Life's too short to bet the under. Root for the points, baby.
All right, here we go. Arkansas versus Ole Miss. Now, both teams come out and tough losses. They're trying to rebound. I just didn't like the way Lane Kiffin managed that game. I think he got paid. Honestly, man, who goes over fourth down in your own territory and the first half of the game?
Why do people keep hiring that guy? He's a jackass.
But I'm still picking Ole Miss to win. I don't know, man. This is a pick'em game. I'm picking Ole Miss. It's at home. They're at Ole Miss. That's why I'm picking Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very, very tough game to pick. I mean, Lane Kiffin, he was also feeling himself about the Alabama, talking a little smack before the game. I mean, he definitely ate his words. But I'm gonna go with the coach here. And Sam Pittman has turned Arkansas around tenfold. Ole Miss, explosive offense. But I'm gonna go with Sam Pittman to get the Razorbacks ready on the road to get the dub here.
All right.
Let me tell you something. The Razorbacks O-line had a disaster of a week last week. I mean, they started the game off with the two false start penalties. Too many penalties in the game. This team can really run the football well. They just went up against a great Georgia defense. Meanwhile, I think Ole Miss's defense is super sus. They got shredded. That is not a good defense. I think Arkansas gets back on track. And I think Lane Kiffin continues to look like the idiot of the SEC.
Some people think he's doing it by purpose so you get the USC job back.
Probably.
Urban Meyer ain't going there, though?
Urban Meyer, that's another story, man. I got so much to talk about that. It's not even funny. But, hey, let's move on here. Let's move on. We got the game of the week, Penn State versus Iowa. Look, I've been like, picking one, then I find something else, I'm picking the other, and I'm going back and forth. So today I finalized my pick. Okay. Penn State lost to Iowa last year. And of course, Penn State lost a lot of games, right? And Penn State's a different team this season. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to revenge that 41-21 loss, right? And they're going to go to Iowa and make all those fans cry, wishing that they could go to the college football playoffs. I'm picking Penn State to win.
Damn. All right. This is tough. Both these teams, whoever wins this game is, I think, the favorite to win the Big Ten. I mean, you can see in the rankings. But I've been high on Iowa all year. It's a Kinnick Stadium's a tough place to play. I like the Ninty Lions defense. I like Jahan Dodson, but I struggle with the play calling, and I don't think Sean Clifford's all right, but he isn't that next level. And, I mean, Petrus isn't a great quarterback either, but I think he just does enough to keep the offense going on the field. And this Iowa defense is monstrous, forcing takeaways left and right, as we saw last week against Maryland. I think Iowa gets it done pretty handily at home.
I don't know, man, but Maryland was kind of overrated. They tried to hype Maryland up. And
you guys both picked Maryland. I was the only one on Iowa.
Yeah, and I fell in the trap on that one.
Listen, here's the thing. I was reading earlier today that 2.2% of passes in FBS are intercepted. 2.2% of all the passes get intercepted. Iowa's defense in the last 4 years is averaging 4.2 interceptions per game, which is nearly double the average. You're a little wrong about Sean Clifford. This guy's putting up the best mark of his entire career: efficiency rate, touchdown rate, lowest interception rate since he became the starting quarterback there. The thing is, can he get through a game without Iowa getting some turnovers, creating havoc? I don't think so. I'm going to take Iowa. I agree with you, Jace. I think it won't even – the score might even be close, but the game won't be.
All right, I like it. I like it a lot. I like it. This is awesome. It's both of you against me now. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
How about this game then? UConn versus UMass, the battle of the toilet bowl, as Jace calls it. This is the Tank Bowl, voted by the top 2 underdogs in college football. So I'm going with my home state. I'm going for Connecticut. Go UConn. They'll get the job done. I just don't know how. I don't know. I think they win. I think whoever wins the coin toss wins the game.
Okay.
UConn wins. They're gonna call tails.
This is going to be a gross field goal battle. Just punts and field goals left and right. But I mean,
nah, it's gonna be more than that.
I don't know, man. UConn actually played pretty damn well against Vanderbilt, so that's why I'm going to go with them. I mean, SEC teams, they almost won that game, so yeah, I'll give them the nod here against UMass.
In a battle between 2 garbage dumpster teams, I'm just going to take the points. I'll take the points because there could be a 0-0 tie.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
It'd be 3-0.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Take them up points.
So I'm sorry, Jace. Who you going for?
UConn.
Joe?
I'm going to take UMass.
You serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, listen, UMass sucks. But so does UConn.
No, yeah.
The last time
And if
they
there's
played,
one thing, I'm telling you, doesn't it just seem fitting that UMass is going to win? It's going to be like, I don't know. I just have because you're right. Look, UConn on paper, coming off the Vanderbilt game, is in much better shape.
Vanderbilt
I feel like
looks
they're
good
due
now.
for
They
another
finally got to win.
UConn-esque kind of failure.
Vanderbilt finally got to win. They're the worst in the SEC.
Yeah. Just had to find the most garbage team you could. And welcome to Connecticut.
Yeah. Hey, but I got to give respect to Connecticut, though, man. Going independent and then playing all these good teams. That's how you do it, man.
Great.
That's how you get better. Yeah. Michigan visiting Nebraska. I got Michigan. I'm holding my breath, though, because like everybody else, they're waiting for that one mistake that Michigan will do. But Michigan looks solid, so I'm picking Michigan.
Oh, I wish this was a spread game. Nebraska's 4-1 against the spread. Since week 1, they've actually looked pretty damn good. Michigan, I'm gonna keep chasing Michigan to fail. I'm gonna go Nebraska here to get the upset.
Michigan has not trailed for a second in any of their games so far this year. I am going to buy Michigan against Nebraska. Yeah.
Fair enough. Even though I have that basketball symbol in the background, but all right.
Didn't even notice that. Now I can't stop looking at it.
I know, me too. Hey, let's flip the script here. Now let's talk about spreads. Ohio State favorite 21 over Maryland. I am picking Ohio State to cover the spread.
I do think Maryland's offense has enough to keep it
close. Sorry. In my paper, I did not pick Ohio State. I'm sorry. I pick Ohio State to win, but Maryland will keep it close. They will be within 21 points.
I don't know if you guys heard Dante Demas Jr. Looks like he's going to miss the rest of the season due to a knee injury. So I think things have gone from bad to worse for Maryland.
No, but I mean, I still think Talia Tagovailoa, he had that bad game against a really good defense, but I think he has enough to keep it close. But, I mean, Ohio State, they've been getting after the quarterback. I expect them to pressure him, and I do think they'll cover this game.
So you picking Maryland?
No, Ohio State.
Oh, you thinking they're gonna? I know
Yeah.
I talked about it earlier about they always cover the spread, but I don't know. I got Maryland, but go ahead, Joe. Who you got?
Oh, I already said Ohio State's covering.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry about that.
No, it's all
right.
good.
I'm a little lost here. Too much red on my screen. Hold on, let me flip it. There you go. Wake Forest favorite 5.5 against Syracuse. I have Wake Forest. They are 5-0. Sam Hartman, he's doing it up for the Wake Forest. I like it. He's doing good. He hasn't really faced anyone good. But then again, there goes Syracuse. You never know what you're gonna get. So with Syracuse, they got Sean Tucker, who is a freshman running back who's leading the way in the offense. But I'm gonna take the most experienced players. Wake Forest gets it done, and they will cover.
I'm sorry. I saw the line at 6.5. Is this a mistake?
Nope, that's not a mistake.
What are you using? Caesar's odds? What is going on here? What is this?
Hey, 5.5. Take it or leave it.
I've got Syracuse. Can I get 6? Can you give me 6? Can we split the difference? I got Syracuse 6.5. Think it's going to be a close game.
Okay, I give you 6. I'll give you 6.
Give me 6. I'll take it.
Take 6. There you go. We'll take 6. You take Syracuse?
Yep.
This one's hard for me to pick because, I mean, Wake
Going
Forest hasn't
Syracuse is going to win 38-31, Jace.
Dude, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Syracuse won. I mean, it's tough to play in the Carrier Dome. But, I mean, Wake Forest hasn't played anyone. I really want to go Syracuse here, but I'm going to go Wake Forest. I'm going to go Wake Forest.
Here it is. Oregon State, favorite 3.5 over Washington State. Sounds like a Dr. Pepper commercial. Let's go State.
Those faces are so ridiculous.
Oregon State, I'm taking them. I look, they're 2-0 in the conference. Washington State's 1-2. I mean, sooner or later, these two teams will fall later down their schedule. I'm picking Oregon State. I'm still remembering them fighting very well against Oregon when they upset Oregon last year. I don't know. Like I said, Washington State hasn't shown me anything. It is what it is. Oregon State got them 3.5. Jace?
Yeah, I mean, Washington State's got a lot of problems going on. I think that Mike Leach leaving the Mississippi State really screwed them all over. Haven't been the same since.
It's not their fault, man. He went for the money.
I know.
He went for the money.
But they've been in disarray since. So, yeah, I'm going to go Oregon State to get it done.
All right, Joe.
Oregon State's 3-0 against the spread after winning a game this year. I'm also taking the Beavers.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them versus Oregon. It's going to be a good one. And last but least, we have Wyoming at Air Force. I'm picking Air Force. They're my favorite on this one. They're favorite by 6. You want to up it, Joe? You want to up it?
No, I got 6 here as well. Wyoming's only covered the spread once this season. I'm taking Air Force in 6.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweep. Wyoming almost lost to UConn as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go Air Force here.
Cover. That's true. That is true. I forgot about that one. Absolutely. So, this show is brought to you by CMG Sports Network. Once again, visit clovercrestmedia.com. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, All 4 Downs, and follow us on Facebook. Click away. And again, any comments or whatever, hey, our show will be reposted on the website as well as hhwshow.com. And for that is a wrap. It is time for the final whistle. Joe, the floor is yours.
Thanks, guys. LSU head coach Ed or Gary, what's his face? Ed Ogeron, said something interesting. He said the responsibility for his team's poor performance in the loss to Auburn on Saturday rests with him. That's right. Ogeron told reporters on Monday, ultimately, I'm responsible for the performance of this team. I always will be responsible. Responsible? Ed? Not always. You might not even be around by Thanksgiving this year. Now, Ed's been facing a lot of criticism lately, and it's well-deserved. As LSU obviously won a championship, undefeated in 2019. Since then, they're 2 games above 500. Now, what Ed did in the conference the other day was he went through a laundry list of excuses. The offensive coordinator, the offensive line, got to get back to the run, got to simplify things. But he went to great lengths to say that he wasn't trying to make any excuses. He said, quote, I get asked questions and they may sound like I'm trying to point the finger. You know me. Everybody knows me. That's not me. I take full responsibility for everything that happens in the program. No, Ed, it sounds like you're pointing fingers. Man up and go out with some dignity. Thanks so much for joining us on All Four Downs. For Jace Garcia and Obi Muniz, I am Joe Aguirre. Make sure you check us out, clovercrestmedia.com/all4downs. You can also check out hhwshow.com for all the latest in the wide world of sports. We're proud to be part of the CMG Sports Podcast Network. We'll catch you next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock for All Four Downs.